Artificial intelligence is moving so fast that most books written about it feel outdated within a year, but a handful of titles keep getting recommended over and over by people who actually use AI every day, not just write about it. We went through recurring threads across the AI and machine learning communities on Reddit, where people constantly ask the same question: which AI book should I actually read first? Three titles kept coming up again and again, each aimed at a different kind of reader. And today, we are breaking down what makes each one worth your time, starting with the one that gets recommended more than any other. That book is Co-Intelligence, Living and Working with AI, written by Wharton professor Ethan Mollick. Mollick teaches AI and entrepreneurship, and his argument is straightforward. AI works best when you treat it like a coworker you experiment with, not a tool you wait to be told how to use. The book lays out 4 practical rules for working with AI. Always invite it to the table. Be the human in the loop. Treat it like a person, while remembering it is not one. And assume this is the worst AI you will ever use, because it keeps getting better. Each of those rules is backed by a real classroom experiment, where Mollick tested AI tools directly against his own MBA students to see what actually happened. The chapters are short, most under 15 pages, which makes it easy to read in small sessions, on a commute or before bed, without losing the thread. What keeps this book from feeling stale is that Mollick continues publishing free essays on his newsletter that update these ideas as AI changes, so the core arguments do not feel locked to an earlier generation of tools. Across the AI community on Reddit, this is the title that comes up first when someone, whether a curious individual, a manager, or a teacher, asks where to even begin. The one honest downside is that it stays light on technical depth. If your goal is understanding how the models themselves actually work, you will want a second book alongside this one. A few of the examples also reference earlier AI tools that have since been replaced, which is almost unavoidable for any book written about a field moving this fast. But for anyone who wants a single book that explains how to actually work with AI day to day, written by someone who tested these ideas in a live classroom before putting them in print, this is the one. If co-intelligence still feels a little abstract, or if you are not even sure what a prompt is, the next pick is built for exactly that. AI For Dummies 3rd edition by John Paul Mueller and Luca Massaron follows the classic For Dummies format. Each chapter is short and self-contained, and every term gets defined before it gets used. This edition was rewritten to cover generative AI, large language models, and the wave of tools that arrived after ChatGPT, so it is not stuck describing an older era of AI. It covers generative AI, machine learning, robotics, and AI ethics in separate chapters, with sidebars on how neural networks work at a conceptual level and where AI already shows up in everyday apps. The AI community on Reddit often points people here when someone says they do not even know what a prompt is, because it assumes zero prior coding, statistics, or math background. It also works well as a reference to flip back to later, not just a cover-to-cover read. The honest downside is that some sections feel padded compared to more focused beginner books, and if you already use ChatGPT regularly, the first third will feel slow. But for readers who want every AI term explained from zero, with no assumptions about prior tech knowledge, this is the most consistently recommended starting point. For business readers and executives, the recommendation shifts entirely. The pick there is Power and Prediction by economists Ajay Agrawal, Joshua Gans, and Avi Goldfarb, and it is the book that business and leadership threads keep pointing to. The core argument is that AI does not just make existing processes faster, it changes which decisions are worth making in the first place, and that shifts power between companies, regulators, and workers. The authors lean on the slow adoption of electricity in factories as a historical parallel, arguing that the biggest AI-driven business changes have not happened yet, because they require rebuilding systems from scratch, not just adding AI on top of old ones. The book includes a framework for identifying exactly where AI will shift power within a specific industry, which is genuinely useful if you are the person making investment decisions. This is the most cited 2025 and 2026 pick for AI business strategy across business-focused Reddit threads, and unlike books built around specific tools or product names, it tends to hold up over time. The honest downside is that it reads denser and more academic than Co-Intelligence, so it is not a quick read, and it stays light on hands-on guidance since this is a strategy book, not a how-to. For executives and managers who need to understand how AI changes competitive dynamics, not just how to use a chatbot, this is the one. So, how do these three actually compare? Co-intelligence is the general starting point, written for a curious individual, a manager, or a classroom, and it focuses on how to actually work with AI day to day. AI for Dummies sits a level below that for someone who wants every term defined from scratch before anything else gets built on top of it. Power and prediction is in a different lane entirely. It is not about using AI tools day to day. It is about understanding how AI reshapes decisions, markets, and competitive advantage, which is why it is the pick for executives and managers. If you had to pick just one, the AI and machine learning communities on Reddit consistently point newcomers toward co-intelligence first, then suggest AI for Dummies as a companion if any term along the way feels unfamiliar. One pattern worth mentioning before you go shopping. People who try to read several AI books at once tend to finish none of them. The readers who actually get value pick one, finish it, and only then decide if a second book is needed based on what the first one left unanswered. These three, along with 9 more picks across categories like machine learning, data science, and books for kids, are covered in the full guide. The full breakdown with all 12 books is linked below. If you found this useful, subscribe for more breakdowns like this one.